Genshin characters have gotten into some really funny situations, and some of them are so weird, they almost seem unreal. First up is the ultimate agent of chaos, Alice. She's so dangerous you could honestly call her a one-woman terrorist. While traveling in Mondstadt, Alice felt that Storm Terror's lair lacked the authentic vibe of a real ruin, so she blew up several of its arcades to give it some extra ancient atmosphere. She even thought about blowing up Starsnatch Cliffs too, truly Klee's mother, through and through. She even thought Amber's Baron Bunny lacked sufficient firepower and offered to upgrade it into something powerful enough to wipe out an entire forest, scaring Amber half to death. But Baron Bunny sparked Alice's fascination with explosive plush toys, which might explain why Klee's Jumpy Dumpty is also a plush toy. She even pitched Lisa a plan to create a hilichurl production facility, rounding up the 3 tribes in Dodapa Gorge to serve as a power source for windmills. And as if that wasn't unhinged enough, she also proposed turning elderly hilichurls into food to feed the stronger ones. During her time in the US, she borrowed the kitchen at Wangshu in to brew a remedy for a soldier's stutter. While she did manage to cure the stutter, the soldier ended up uncontrollably repeating everything others said. Of course, Liyue wasn't spared from her bombs. She blew up 3 shell ships right at the harbor. While in Inazuma, she once tried to lure the cats at a Sei shrine with a specially designed cat cage, only to be stopped by that Killjoy shrine maiden. And she modified the Mikage furnace in Tatarasuna, which ended up injuring Kuju Sera's wings in the explosion. She even nicknamed Raiden the Grumpy General, took teasing Ye Miko a little too far and actually made her cry, and kept inviting Ayaka to join her idol group, but was turned down 6 times in a row. When Klee grows up, will she become just as destructive as her mother? If Alice is the one actively causing chaos, Durin just ends up wrecking things unintentionally. He went fishing with Klee, but ended up being locked in solitary confinement, because Klee had him fly her into the air and drop Jumpy Dumpty straight into the pond. When Albedo asked him to boil some water, he ended up reducing the kettle to ashes. Besides sometimes losing control of his power, he also doesn't quite understand human social rules. He heard that it's polite to look people in the eye when talking, but also that staring is rude. So he ends up blinking constantly or talking with only one eye open, and everyone keeps telling him to go have Barber check his eyes. When Lisa assigned homework, he stood his books up like a little barricade and sneaked in a nap. To his surprise, Lisa didn't scold him at all. She even praised him for learning the most important lesson before he could finish apologizing, which left him completely confused, thinking she was complimenting him for taking responsibility. Looks like Durin still hasn't mastered the art of slacking off. And Varesa is no exception when it comes to being socially awkward. She once thought Seat Lolly was much older, so the first time Varesa saw her in the tavern, she didn't recognize Seat Lolly. Seat Lolly was already drunk and didn't have a single moro on her, so Varesa paid for her and walked her around the Masters of the Night Wind, asking if anyone knew Granny Itzley, leaving everyone there completely shocked. Besides, Varesa almost drove Kinich bankrupt. She had helped Kinich with his commissions a few times, so he invited her to eat as a thank you. But Varesa ordered over 30 puff pops and devoured them in one sitting. Kinich was so shocked that he literally turned green as if he might puke. Varesa is truly a glutton. When Ian-san forbids her from eating fried food, she sneaks off to a secret tent to enjoy it in private. When opening a chest, she asks,
Are these edible?
When it snows, she also asks,
Is it edible?
Meanwhile, Columbina may look cold and aloof, but she's actually a socially clueless foodie. The contrast is off the charts. Sometimes her lines are surprisingly funny. When receiving food, she says,
More, please. Oh, was that all? I'll have to remember to save some next time.
If she doesn't like it, she'll say,
Oh, whenever Sandrone was mad at me, she'd give me things like this too.
And when she opens a chest, she asks,
Did they run from home too?
She also doesn't seem to understand money very well. When she was the 3rd of the Fatui Harbingers, her meals at restaurants could be reimbursed, but the process was too complicated for her to figure out, so she just went out to eat with Sandrone or Arlecchino. She even once called Arlecchino father. After hearing the children at the House of the Hearth address Arlecchino that way, she assumed it was a rule everyone had to follow there. So when Arlecchino walked by, she called out father as well, and the entire House of the Hearth instantly fell dead silent. When she first met Sandrone, she became fascinated by the key on her back. So whenever she got the chance, she followed Sandrone around, trying to figure out the pattern of the key. Eventually, Sandrone got fed up and simply installed a key on her as well. After carrying it around for a few days, she realized how tiring it really was. titles, so she's looked out for Sandrone even more since then. She had actually heard about the Traveler from other Harbingers long ago, but with so many titles being listed, she dozed off before they even got to the name. Seems like having too many titles isn't always a good thing. Alice, mind this. At times, she can be quite mischievous. Once, she deliberately aimed the moonlight at Llama's head, making her antlers grow taller and stabbed the fruit growing high above. As a result, she got scolded afterward. Got any other funny character moments? Drop them in the comments.